Greetings and grace, everyone. I pray that you are healed from those areas that you don't talk about and that you are blessed tremendously for tuning in today. All right, continuing on in the book of Proverbs. Now we are on chapter 2. Moral benefits of wisdom. That's the header that we got here. And by the way, I'm reading the NIV. The NIV. So, my son, if you accept my words and store up my commands within you, turning your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding. Indeed, if you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding, and if you look for it as for silver and search for it as hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield to those whose walk is blameless. For he guards the course of the just and protects the way of his faithful ones. Then you will understand what is right and just and fair, every good path. For wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge will be pleasant to your soul. Discretion will protect you, and understanding will guard you. Wisdom will save you from the ways of wicked men, from men whose words are perverse, who have left the straight paths to walk in dark ways, who delight in wrongdoing and rejoice in the perverseness of evil, whose paths are crooked and who are devious in their ways. Wisdom will save you also from the adulterous woman, from the wayward woman with her seductive words, who has left the partner of her youth and ignored the covenant she made before God. Surely her house leads down to death, and her paths to the spirits of the dead. None who go to her return or attain the paths of life. Thus you will walk in the way of the good, and keep to the paths of the righteous. For the upright will live in the land, and the blameless will remain in it. But the wicked will be cut off from the land, and the unfaithful will be torn from it. All right. So keep some key verses. Hold on one second. I really like this one. This one's really good. Okay. This one's kind of short, but there's some really good stuff in here. Let's see. Okay. So verse 7, where it talks about how God holds success in store for the upright, and he is a shield to those whose walk is blameless, for he guards the course of the just and protects the way of his faithful ones. That's beautiful. How can we break that down even more? I'm gonna read it one more time. He holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield to those whose walk is blameless, for he guards the course of the just and protects the way of his faithful ones. Chapter 3, by the way, one of my favorite verses is a passage, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. When you are focused on what it is that you're doing and you are staying connected to the path that God has for you, you are operating in integrity, you're operating in being right and being just and being fair, right? And operating from a place of love. God will continuously protect you. God will guard you, right? And that's what it's about, right? Staying in God's will. This is for those who, are staying in connected to the faithful foundation that they choose. Me personally, I love God the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I know my why, and so that's for me. And for those who want to connect or even learn more, hey, I'm with that as well. Or whatever your faithful foundation is, you got to make sure that you are staying connected. That way you are operating and staying safe within the will, right? And that's what it's about, because that's how you are taken care of, right? You got to have that spiritual covering that matters. So yes, you want to make sure that you're rocking things out. Verse number 10. For wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge will be pleasant to your soul. Discretion, and right, yeah. So this is verses 10 through 12. For wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge will be pleasant to your soul. So when wisdom enters your heart, you feel more at peace. And when you have the right knowledge, you'll be like, oh yeah, this is nice. This is right on point. I don't know about you, but I've actually experienced things like that. Like when it came to making a decision this past year, I was like, man, I really want to learn how to make better decisions. So I started making decisions on cutting everything. I just started making cuts and sacrifices in every area as possible, because I wanted to make better and healthier decisions, to make sure that I'm setting myself up for sustainability, for longevity in the most healthiest ways possible. And as a result of seeking the right knowledge, seeking my mentors, right, and getting the information and the knowledge, there's just been revelation after revelation, the ability to understand more and the ability to operate in a much more healthier way when it comes to making decisions, when it comes to even down to communicating with people, right? That's important. When you get that stuff, there's something beautiful about that. There's a peace of mind that you get, and you're getting to a happier place. And that's what it's about. All right, so verse number 11, discretion will protect you and understanding will guard you. This is important because when you're operating from a place of discretion, you're operating from a place of observation, right? And you're operating from a place of taking things one step at a time. You're operating from a place of patience, right? So when it comes to business partnerships, for an example, this is something that I think a lot of us have failed in. I know I've failed in this area a couple of times, but there's something beautiful about discretion. What does discretion allow us to do? It allows us to take a step back, be patient, and observe people first before happening into any type of partnership, covenant, commitment with them. Why? Because that you want to make sure, one, that your vision's aligned, that your principles align, and three, that it's going to be something that's going to be beneficial for the both of you as you are growing along the vision and the impact that you're trying to make. That's important. So you want to exercise as much discretion as possible. Take your time, y'all. You don't got to rush and run into everything. You want to take your time, and when you have the right people, then y'all can run together. Think of it like, man, yeah, think of it like that, all right? Understanding will guard you. When you understand things, right, you're going to keep that at the forefront of your mind. That's where that wisdom comes in, right? That applied knowledge. So, right, if you're trying to make healthier decisions, it's important to learn all about the reflection, right? Reflect on all the bad decisions you've made. Think about what led to those decisions and what correlates with all of those situations, environments, people, et cetera, et cetera. That way, and outcomes, right? That way you can go ahead. Now you know what to look for in the event you encounter something similar, and you know how to operate. Why? Now, because you have the right mentors and you have the right information, and now you have an understanding of what happens when you make certain decisions again. Now you can make healthier ones, knowing that people are going to get exactly what it is that they need, and that you're going to get exactly what it is that you need, and operate from a healthy, decisive place, right? And that is where that understanding will guard you, because you can look up the street and be like, you know what? That looks familiar. Or you can have a conversation with someone. You can ask a particular question, and within 10 minutes, hopefully within 2 minutes, right? Because that's master level, but within 10 minutes, you can find out, this person said this. This means that this person more than likely has the characteristics of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And these 10 things are, the majority of them are toxic. And if I recall correctly, when I made a decision similar to this person that resembled this characteristic or this phrase, this is what happened. And that's where that understanding comes. It's like, I remember that. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that discretion, that understanding, that remembering, right? You can forgive, but you don't want to forget. You forgive, right? But you want to make sure that you know not to enter the same thing over and over again, right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Learn the first time, learning from mistakes. Wisdom looks at the mistakes made the first time and is like, you know what? What can I do? Or they'll ask their mentors, what can I do to make sure that I don't make that same mistake again? And also, what's that quote says? If someone wastes 10 minutes of your time, 8 minutes are your fault. Why? Because within those first 2 minutes, you really want to spend the majority of that time asking the right questions and also listening to what people are saying and how they are acting, their body language, all of those things, and reading in between the lines to find out if this is something that can continue to grow or not, right? And so that's, just a fun tidbit. I did do a video on that a while back though, but yeah, that's good. Number 12, wisdom will save you from the ways of wicked men, right? You want to be careful of highly impulsive people. The reason why I'm saying this, and let me just say this too, right? Because I'm energetic. I've also been impulsive, right? But there are some people who will make decisions so quickly without thinking ahead, or without realizing that they can't fully commit, or without realizing, that hey, they got all of these things going on and they really just can't do what it is that needs to be done now, right? I also said I used to be like that. Why? Because I was like, I could admit it. I was a little bit of a people pleaser. I had a hard time saying no, that type of jazz. However, I also realized that in addition to making healthier decisions, I had to learn and understand boundaries, right, for myself. Like, because people are like, hey, Mike, can you do this? I'll be like, yeah. But it's like, hold on a second. No, right? And so you also want to pay attention to people who are impulsive, right? Because if they're impulsive, sometimes they can move so fast in a way that it could actually overwhelm you, or it means that they're super duper high strung. And man, let me tell you something. When I decided to get to a place where I can just, kind of relax and be cut off from everybody, which was beautiful, I cannot tell you how like just peaceful things have been. One and two, not being reachable. My phone would be on do not disturb on a regular basis. Absolutely beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love do not disturb. One of my favorite modes on the phone. I'm telling you, because right, everybody's always looking for access for a lot of people. Even my notifications, I don't have my notifications on Facebook or Instagram, right? It's very specific what actually comes through on my phone, because I know that if I get a ding on my phone, 9 times out of 10, I'm actually going to look at it. And I want to make sure that what comes through is what's going to continuously keep me focused on what it is that I'm working on, that I'm going to do, and what it is that I'm working on. Why? Because being impulsive is not the way. I don't like that. I don't like moving so fast that I miss it. I miss out on enjoying the process. I don't want to move so fast that I miss out on, little details that I can actually improve on the way there. And there's so much power in going one step at a time. Hey, so be careful of people that just move impulsively, or maybe they're emotionally impulsive, or they just quick for a whole lot of stuff. All right, most of the time, so that's a sign people got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Just take a beat back, observe, give it some time, see what's up, ask the right questions, like, hey, have you healed? What you working on? That type of jazz. But beware of some people who will do these things, but they're more on a forceful and aggressive side. Now, that is a whole nother level of type of people. I like to refer to them kind of like more so like sharks, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how they move. And so you got to be careful of things like that. Remember, right? Discretion, understanding takes time, right? If you're really trying to build something for sustainability, it's not going to happen overnight. So you got to be careful of who you connect with, because sometimes some people have this idea or this notion, everything's going to happen overnight. It's going to happen yesterday. It doesn't work like that. Not if you want to enjoy it. Not if you want to fully understand the entire process. So be encouraged, y'all. And the last one, verse 21, for the upright will live in the land and the blameless will remain in it. That right there. For the upright will live in the land and the blameless will remain in it. One more time. For the upright will live in the land and the blameless will remain in it. That's what's important, right? They're literally talking about sustainability. Land, right? Living in it. Blameless, right? To actually achieve these things requires a level of wisdom, requires a level of understanding, that discretion, that observation, the avoidance of wicked men, the avoidance of the adulterous woman, things like that. Why? Because you don't want anything to hinder you from living in your promised land. Your land of milk and honey, or kale and avocado. Hey, me, mango tree, avocado tree. I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to that. But I know that in order for me to have that, there's a lot of stuff that I got to do. And there's a lot of steps that I need to take intentionally to make sure that when I get my mango and avocado tree on my land, it's going to last and be sustainable for generations and generations. And that's what you really want to think about. And you don't want to make any rash decisions or rash moves that could actually hinder it without counting the cost, right? That's important. Excuse me. Make sure you count the cost. All right, you guys. So what are your thoughts in the comments? What was your biggest takeaway? Any questions, comments, concerns? Put it down in the chat. I really want to hear it. Hit me up with the hashtag replay. I cannot wait to continue on the conversation. Share this with somebody and let's keep it going, y'all. Let's operate in wisdom as we're building our brands. All right. Talk soon.